For all my After Effects users, have you ever tried exporting your comp as a GIF for social media or the web, only to realize how overly complicated the process is? You either have to wrestle with Adobe Media Encoder or bring your video file into Photoshop just to get a simple GIF, and it shouldn't be that way. Well, there's a plugin called GifGun that helps solve this problem, and today I'm going to show you guys a walkthrough on why this plugin is a must-have for motion designers. GifGun at its core is a plugin for After Effects that turns your comp into a GIF in as little as one click. It handles all compression, looping, and optimization automatically, so you never have to leave After Effects. You can even change your comp dimensions, frame rate, add transparency, and optimize for the web. It's intended for motion designers who need an easy workflow when working with GIFs frequently. So now I'm going to walk through some of the most popular GIF making methods and why GifGun is the best out of all of them. So here we are in After Effects. I'm going to show off how you're going to export each of these GIFs out in different ways. So to start, let's do Adobe Media Encoder. And we're going to set it right here, make sure it's on animated GIF, and then you click on here, and then you get some options, depending on transparency if you want that, and then some other things of that sort, but not too much you can mess with once you bring it into here. This is a more simpler way than the Photoshop method, but we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to export it out, and we're going to look at the final result. So here's the final result. It looks okay for the most part. The only problem I really have is the file size. It's about 15 megabytes, and there's not too much leeway I could figure out to really get that down a bit or increase some compression. But we're quickly going to learn the other methods do have more flexibility in that sort. So let's head on to the Photoshop method. So for the Photoshop method, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit export. We're going to send this to the render queue, and then we're going to make it a smaller MP4, and then we're going to render this out, and then we're going to go into Photoshop. So now that we brought over this file into Photoshop, we're going to go over to export, and then we're going to do save for web legacy, and then we get quite a bit different options we can pick from when it comes to transparency and then the presets. I know this GIF 128 dither is pretty popular, so we can rock with that as Photoshop figures out what it wants to do with this file. So now that it's in, a couple different things right there, and then a variety of stuff you can choose from. Most people probably don't use. Looping options, let's just keep it on forever for now. And then there's also a preview option that takes it to the web browser, which I don't know why it does that. Probably more scientific answer. But yeah, once we get our save location done, then we can hit done, and it's going to export out. So now that we have our Photoshop version, it's a little bit smaller in size, about 13 megabytes, and quality looks pretty good. The only problem is, again, some lacking a little more features than what GifGun is going to provide, but this is pretty good and pretty acceptable. It's what the method I use for majority of these animations before I had GifGun. But yeah, let's head over to the main star of the show. So now finally we are going to show off GifGun. So to start, let's look at the settings right here. Now we do have a couple different options: GIFs, WebP, MP4, and here are what we can choose from. So we can choose the folder. We got resizing. This is helpful if you want to scale it, or different sizes if your comp isn't already the one you want. I got frame rate if you ever want to change that. Coloring, cool. And then we got some different presets to go from there. And then compression, also helpful if you're meeting a certain size file size requirement. And then you got a couple different things here when it comes to transparency, target size, pixel art, saving a video copy as well. All good stuff you can choose from. And then WebP, a little bit different, but more or less the same kind of compression and different kind of options you can choose from with your exporting file. And this is really good. It's a little more, I think it's a little bit cleaner and easier to understand what's going on. And then when you're doing like test runs, it's a little bit faster to getting files to the way you want them to. But for now, let's keep these options. They're pretty good. And then we're going to hit the close out, and then we're going to hit make GIF. Now we're going to see some real time how it's going to work. So it's going to send it to the render queue itself, and it's going to make its own like little file, and then it's going to work its magic from there. It's going to bring it back into GifGun right here. You see the little progress bar, and then bam, we're going to show off our animation. And then here we are. Now this sizing is a little bit smaller than the Photoshop one. This one's about 11.9 megabytes. Quality is pretty good. I think I could fine tune a little bit more to get to match the Photoshop quality, but this is more than passable. for the needs of this, and I think it's pretty good overall. Now that's just a quick overview of all 3 different methods, all of the pros and cons of what they accomplish, but I think GifGun offers the most variety and the most, probably the easiest way to get to the final output you're looking for. So to recap, GifGun saves time with easy one-click exports. It allows a wide variety of video export formats such as GIFs, WebP, and MP4 files. And most of all, it allows easy control for the compression and output look for the video file. GifGun 2 is priced at $40, but if you're exporting GIFs on a semi-regular basis, it's one of those plugins that pays for itself over time. So that's my overview of GifGun, the fastest and easiest way to export GIFs at After Effects. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. So I'll see you guys in the next one.